Well, good day, and welcome to the Marin County Fire Chief's historical website. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the Marin Wildfire Prevention Authority and how that came to be and what they're currently doing with regard to wildfire prevention and home hardening and access and egress in the wildland in Marin County today. And I'm pleased to have as my guest Deputy Fire Marshal Larry Pasero with the Kentfield Fire District. Good day, Larry.
Morning. How are you?
Good. Good. I'm doing really well. And thanks for joining us today on Marin Wildfire Prevention Authority's story from the Marin Fire Chief's historical website. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yep. So can you give us a little background maybe on yourself and the Marin Wildfire Prevention Authority and what we're doing today?
Yeah, I'm Larry Pasero. I'm the Deputy Fire Marshal at the Kentfield Fire District, going on my 6th year here after doing 15 years in the city of Napa, working for that agency, and prior to that is with the South San Francisco Fire Department. We're in our 5th year with the MWPA as one of the agencies, one of the 18 or 19 agencies in the county that subscribes to the Wildfire Prevention Authority, and we are able to utilize or harness the power of all of those agencies together with a tax initiative that allows Marin County residents to front load a lot of the fees, costs, and other stuff that's really required to have a robust defensible space program throughout the county. It's multifaceted. There includes a defensible space component where we actually do inspections of all residents to look for defensible space and home hardening ideals at their properties. It also allows us to do some fuel projects. Most agencies run anywhere from 5 to 20 fuel projects a year that allows us to reduce fuel volumes in sensitive areas or wildland urban interface areas, in both the state responsibility areas and our local responsibility areas. Also some major fuel projects, pretty exciting. In this year, we're going to start the Novato fuel break. We have a Central Marin shaded fuel break, a Santa Fe fuel break. Those are meant to create a pretty robust fuel treatment around most of our occupied and residential areas throughout the county. MWPA has become much more in-depth in that they're doing some scientific studies on mulch. They continue to work with our collegiate communities to understand. I know that there's certain programs right now for kind of the testing of different fuel products, different fuel management strategies, different processes everywhere from UC Berkeley, Colorado, University of Colorado. There's a lot of academia that are now involved in the scientific approach to how we manage fires. And I think that goes back to the wine country fires, the Tubbs, the Atlas, all of those fires where we really started to analyze how we burn down homes in these communities, all the way through, the fires that we had in Santa Rosa, Fountain Grove, Coffee Park. A lot of science has been pulled from that, and we've really become adept at fine-tuning how we manage properties, both with defensible space and home hardening, because they really work together. One doesn't work without the other. And without, that process through the MWPA and the buy-in from our constituents to have that happen, we'd still be in 2020.
Yep. When Marin County started the post-World War II build out in the rural areas, up in Fairfax, up in the Dominican area in Santa Fe, Mill Valley, and the homes and the lots were sold without really any thought to defensible space or living in that interface. And today, in 2024, we're living with those decisions made in the 1950s.
I agree with you. And I think one of the major concepts that we try to emphasize is that for probably a 30 or 40 year period, we didn't do a good job as Marin residents really controlling or slowing the growth of vegetation. We actually accepted it, and we wanted this idea of screening, and we were kind of haphazard with our planting choices. That not only goes back for the last 30 or 40 years, but that goes back to the 1920s, 1930s in Mill Valley, based on plantings that happened in certain areas along their borders. In the 70s, we saw the idea that planting junipers was a cost-effective and water responsible way of landscaping. through, like I said, the science that we've learned through these fires, we've learned that, that 0 to 10 feet around homes and 10 to 30 feet around homes is really what makes a home susceptible to fire, ember broadcasts, and making them receptive fuel beds. So we've really tried to turn around what we've done historically in the maintenance of properties through, the use of science, the use of boots on the ground, talking and working with folks to better understand how they can protect their homes.
Yep. And I see you guys are doing a great job. I watch, what's it called now? A Firewise Marin is that the name of the agency now?
It's Fire Safe Marin. Fire Safe Marin was, got its roots after the Oakland fires, really understanding the similarities we have here in Marin County with the Oakland Hills and a lot of our neighborhoods. So since that event in the early 90s, that group has kind of been taking the mantle of hosting and delivering all that content that's required for our homeowners. It's really become the hub for everything educational and operational for defensible space and home hardening throughout Marin. Mm-hmm. Anybody can visit that website. It has great resources that actually, with a ton of content, videos, handouts, it'll tie you into how you can best be alerted to emergencies here through our emergency alert system. It'll also show you how to maintain a fire safe landscape. It'll also put you in touch with contractors or other resources. It's really a one-stop shop for anybody that wants to be educated and understand and better protect their local environment around their home.
Yep. And that's a huge piece that we didn't have back in the 80s and the 90s. We did not have a lot of good community outreach and community education. I think the firefighters knew what it took to protect a home, but there was not a relationship with the community that they had heads up. And I see, like you mentioned, the last 5 years or so with Marin Wildfire Prevention, you guys are out there at the fairs, you're out there in the public, and I think you're doing a great job. And we have more to come because, like we always used to say, Larry, it's still true today. You do your vegetation, you weed whack your weeds every year, and you do your defensible space, but the stuff grows back, and it's look like maintaining a car or a fire engine. You just have to keep on it, and then you've got a good defensible space and good home hardening.
I agree, and I think specifically Fire Safe Marin and its portal that allows people access to a lot of information. Right. What we've really done is we've embraced it throughout the county. All the fire agencies are using that kind of as their clearinghouse for information, whereas before you'd have multiple agencies with different messaging. We've really, especially through the Marin County Fire Prevention Officers, been able to harness the power of that tool and all that goes with it. So everybody's getting the same messaging, whether it's from the Novato down to the Sausalito border, the Golden Gate Bridge. Everybody's pulling the rope in the same direction. We're all understanding what the ask is, and it's less confusing, I think, for homeowners and occupants to understand what the ask really is.
And yes, and to that point, you said from Novato all the way to the Golden Gate Bridge, as a county jurisdiction, many jurisdictions working together. I see that being pulled by other agencies and other counties in California, seeing what Marin is as a leader, as Marin is in this wildfire prevention and interface hardening. People are reaching out to Marin, I believe, and looking for ways to protect their communities.
I think, with the inception of the MWPA, it's really put a spotlight on how much can really be done locally to affect change to the landscape and the built environment. I field calls from Colorado, Oregon, Washington, as far east as Alabama and Florida, and even a couple from Australia, where people are trying to understand how are we doing it. And I think really it's been this change in how departments work together. Speaking of the MWPA and our program, there's three major players when it comes to defensible space inspections throughout Marin. Novato has a program, San Rafael has a program, being our two largest cities. And then pretty much the rest of us, there's 5 agencies that are called the Marin Defensible Space Alliance. It's Marin County and West Marin, Southern Marin Fire, the Central Marin Fire agencies, including Central Marin, Kentfield, and Ross Valley. We all work together and we hire 30 seasonals a year. We do about 25,000 inspections. And I think that's what I'm most proud of with this program is how we've all developed this idea that we can run an academy, train people up. They actually boots hit the ground yesterday out into our areas. We can train them up. These are, young people entering the fire service that go out and do 25,000 inspections a summer and really have become the face of how we interact and engage with our communities and our constituents. They're out there knocking on doors, walking properties, and really taking an educational approach to how we evaluate homes. It's not punitive. Certainly, we're trying to partner with our stakeholders in these communities to affect this change that is going to be helpful, not only for the survival of our communities, but for the opportunity for our firefighting folks to get in there and do really good work.
Good. Well, my hat's off to you, and we really appreciate the information you've shared with us today, Larry. I mean, this is moving forward. Like once a year, we like to check in with MWPA and see how the program's progressing, and I'm impressed. And you guys are doing a great job, and I want to thank you for joining us today. And be safe this fire season.
Thank you very much for the time, and we'll be happy to come back and visit again whenever you'd like.
Thank you very much.
All right.